Parenting Skill Course 101. Now, let's look at why is it necessary? I know everybody wants to take out something different from this program, but why is it necessary that we should do this course? Why is it very important? Why is it very important? I believe something that we must raise ourselves before we can raise another person, before we can raise our children. That means we must be updated with the acceptable behaviors, acceptable practices in this nation. As Brother Ola said, most of us came from different places. And some of us were born here, but we grew up in traditional African or Caribbean or other backgrounds. We have also had some English people with us in this course previously. We have had people from Asia. So, and some people who are born here also have their struggles and they need some help. So that's where we come in. That's why it is important. So we said that many of us came to settle in the UK, bringing along with us our different cultures and traditions. And these all collide with the laws and the cultures of this nation. So to fully integrate is very important that we acquaint ourselves with how things are done. I remember earlier on when I was new in this country, I know a mother whose child who went for parents' evening, and the teacher gave a very gloomy picture of the performance of the son, and the woman there and then slapped the child. If it's in Africa, they will say she's a very good woman. She was trying to make the child stand up. But it was frowned at, and social services were involved. So these are little things. There are little things that we do, that we have come into this nation with, which are frowned at. And we want to help parents not to fall into those loopholes or pitfalls or make those mistakes, to keep away the local authority from the back of parents, because going through child protection conferences and all that, going through safeguarding issues, it can be daunting both for the children and for the parents. So as Radola said, prevention is better than cure. Also, we came to the UK, everybody thinks that parenting has no manual. You just have children. Once you have children, you just learn how to be a parent. There are certain things you just pick up. There are certain things you pick up, but there are certain things that are under the law. They are statutorily monitored, that your action must comply with the law. So in this Western world, I would say that parenting has a manual, because there are things you can practice outside this Western world that you cannot practice here, and you do them in Africa. You smack your child, you give your child punishment, and they may clap for you. They may say you are the best, but in this part of the world, it is not. They are unacceptable. So these are the things we want to debunk. We want parents to know that there are things that you think they are right. You saw them happen when you were a child. Maybe the way parents talk to us, we didn't have a voice. So some of us still have that idea that children don't have a voice. So these are the things that we are trying to avoid. We're also the issue of neglect. At times, the things we call neglect in the UK are not considered as neglect outside the UK, outside Europe. The things some of us think, like some parents can say, okay, my child who is less than 12 years old, this child is very smart. I can leave that child and go to work, and I can be there for 8 hours. There's no problem. Yeah, in Africa, that's not a new thing. But here, a child below 12 years, it's frowned at. If, as long as they are safe, no problem. But if anything happens, there'll be a problem. So these are the things we are looking at. We are also looking at the issues of chastisement. our mode of punishment, how we punish our children. We are looking at issues of domestic violence, the impact on children, which at times parents do not even care about their actions on the children. They just, when there is a problem, parents just think of themselves, their own best interest. At times they don't put children into consideration, but the children are the ones that suffer most. The issues of remarriage, they affect children. At times parents don't really realize that. We're also looking at lack of understanding of mental health issues that affect children. Some of us lack it. We thank God recently mental health issues have been issues that are being looked at. Before it was ignored. Nobody even knew that children could be affected by mental health issues. We're going to be covering that as well. Then cultural issues and beliefs like female genital mutilation and circumcision. I remember I was speaking to one woman some time ago, and when I think it's a health worker was asking her questions about the health worker was using the word FGM, female genital mutilation. She didn't even know what the woman was talking about. She didn't understand it, and she began to say so many things, and that led into the child being taken away. So these are little things, but they are very heavy that needs to be looked at. Then we also look at lack of understanding of and emotional connection with children. Lack of understanding. At times we lack, from our background. I don't know if any of you have watched a comedy where a young man went to the father, Ojo, went to the mother, sorry, and asked the mother that you have never, I don't think you love me. The mother said, I love you so much. I give you this, I give you that, I buy food for you, I let you do this, so I love you. The young man said, but you have never told me. She said, do I need to tell you? My actions speak louder than the word I will speak to you. And, so that was a lesson the young man was passing across. So, loving a child, having the best interest of a child in this UK goes beyond buying the clothing, providing accommodation and all that. So we are going to be covering that. Then we are focusing on emotional connection. That emotional connection with our children at times is lacking. The last thing another reason is we are going to be teaching us or reminding us how to teach our children to understand our family values. If you can bear me witness that in the last few years we saw a lot of black young boys and girls slaughtered on the streets, fighting themselves, being in gangs. Some of them some of the reasons are because they don't understand or nobody communicated to them their family values. So we are going to be looking at that. So having said that, as we have said before, we are going to have today till 6, then tomorrow 4 to 6, next week 4 to 6, the same thing Sunday, and that will be the end of this session. And so it is divided. We have four modules in this. So another reason is we want to help you as a participant to explore and understand the issues of improving emotional connection and listening to your children. Even those of us who have teenagers, at times we are not connected to them. That's why we say we don't understand what they're saying, we don't understand what they're doing, we don't understand the way they reason. Their own reasoning is quite different. So don't forget this. I said you must raise yourself before you raise your children. Some people have not raised themselves. Some people are just emotionally wrecked. Every little thing they break down. Some people cannot control their drinking habits. Some are, unfortunately, it's like medical, which we understand. But there are some times when people are addicted that they don't even know the impact it has on their children. So that's why we are saying that it's good we first raise ourselves. We will learn more to be updated so that we are able to impact our children. So So to connect with our children emotionally and mentally in this era, we must understand the issue of mental health. I'm sure a lot of us here must have come across issues of mental health. Maybe you have understanding, maybe you don't have understanding. So can I ask us, how many of us understand what mental health means? Please, if you can just give us a summary of what you understand by mental health well-being, or the impact, please, you can come on. Somebody raise their hand. And you want to say something, yeah? Okay, yeah, unmute yourself. Let me.
Yeah. Afternoon, everybody. Yes, I do have an understanding of mental health in terms of adults and children. My background is in children's social care. I've worked in the field since 1989.
Okay.
Qualified social worker, and I am now currently and have been for the last 5 years an IRO conference chair. So, and basically I've got 15 years worth of management in children's homes. So I've come across a lot of mental health, and it is around emotional well-being. Mental health shouldn't just be recognised when somebody has a breakdown or is in crisis. It's something that's continuous, and it needs to the actual reviewing and the monitoring and the support of people's emotional health has to be a priority, and something that's reviewed on a regular basis. And it takes many different shapes and forms as well. Very often, if somebody is struggling emotionally, that will manifest itself in the behaviour, especially if they have limited coping skills. And sometimes we will see maladaptive coping strategies because somebody is actually struggling, and very often we misinterpret these and put them under labels and banners that don't actually apply, or because we've not taken the time to emphasise and look beyond the presenting problem.
Yeah, thank you so very much. Thank you. Sorry, I'm trying to get your details here. Yeah, okay. Thank you. I'll get your details. I'm trying to get your name again. Remember Anne, isn't it? Anne. Yeah, Anne. Yeah, thank you. That's very detailed. That's very detailed. Yes, we're going to be touching on that. We are not going into the full details of mental health, but how parents can help detect when the children have mental health issues, how we can make them aware generally that children also suffer mental health. Because at times they can present with a lot of symptoms, and we parents may think that they are being stubborn. At times we may just think that they are being even some lazy, or they are trying to hide, or something is going on, not knowing that that child needs help. We also want to help parents to understand the cues, the signs, the symptoms, and what to do when they find out, like referrals they can make and the steps they can take. But more importantly, just to arm parents to know, to look out, to ensure the mental well-being of their children. Because when we understand their mental and emotional well-being, if we are connected to them, we will understand it, and we will pick up any difference in their behavior and in what they do. So we are going to be looking at that. So we say, what is mental health? Then somebody else give us a clue. Somebody else help us. What do you understand? The way you have explained it, somebody else, can you put it in your own simple language? Because our sister spoke as a professional. So yeah, you're a professional in that area. Can somebody just give us, in a simple term, what is the mental health? Is anybody ready to say something? Okay, maybe I think the explanation. Yeah, Gina.
Hello, Gina. Yeah. I'm trying. Mental health is a little simple definition is when your state of being is not normal, as in when you don't think normally, when you don't think rightly, when your brain is not thinking right at the things that you ought to think, when you are like thinking abnormal. I think that is what mental health is. And for children to like being in mental health, it has taken a long process, and the parents did not know, and they are not aware of it, because the children must have been in a great pressure from things that the parents did not know about. pressure from things that their mother or father did not know about, and the parents did not detect the pressure on time. So this can make the child go out of abnormal thinking. So I think mental health is really abnormal thinking. It's thinking that ought not to be for a child. But if the parents were able to detect it on time, that when the child is going through that pressure of things that was bothering him or things that he ought not to come with, so things that he ought not to be with, then the parents would have been able to help him before this child got to that mental health. For children to suffer mental health at our state is things that parents should go into and help children to know who they really are and to know their kids. Parents should please go back and know their kids, because if a child is suffering from mental health, it's the fault of each and every individual, each and every one of us. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Gina. That's good. You are looking at it purely from when there's a problem. So that I want us to look at it in the rounds. The first thing I would say is mental health is a state of well-being. That is what we want to promote.
Okay.
Yes, we want to promote the mental health, which is a state of well-being in which the individual or a child realizes his or her own abilities and is able to cope with normal stresses of life. So we are first looking at the positive. We want to promote that. Then we'll go over to talk about the negative side of it. So it is a state of totality of emotional, psychological, and social well-being of a person, including a child. Now, when there is a mental health issue, is when that person, what you said, Gina, what you said comes in. When a child is struggling to be stable in their emotional and mental and social well-being, when they are troubled emotionally. And some of them, we have a lot of clues to that. So what we have established now is that mental health does not just affect adults. It affects children. Parents, I want us to really take note of that. Mental health affects men, women, adults, husbands, wives, employees, employers, but it also teachers, it also affects children. Unfortunately, because children are young, most times they don't know how to communicate it. And teachers can misread it if they are not careful. Parents can misread it if they are not aware. And people can label those children, as Anne said, which is horrible. And when there's labeling, that even exacerbates the problem. The child becomes more, could be traumatized. The child could start isolating himself or herself. The child's performance in school can go down. There will be changes in different areas. Now, having said that, I want us to look at what are the things to look out for? What are the cues? What are the signs that you see in children and you will say, oh, there's a mental health issue? Because we cannot talk about powerful, excellent parenting skill without understanding the emotional, psychological, mental, and social well-being of our children. I think that's what Gina said in a simple way. If we don't understand it, we think it's just give them jollof rice, give them their best food, give them chocolate. Once you notice that their mood changes, you throw something they like at them, and meanwhile, they may not be what they want. At times, it will come as seeking for attention, and we'll say, "Oh, you go there, go and sit down, go and read your book," and we don't even address the problem. And if we don't address that problem, it will definitely affect the children, it will affect your relationship, and it will affect your parenting skill. And when this happens, the next place where it will be discovered may be in school, the way the child will present in school, because most teachers are trained in psychology. They can read the mood of your children. Or you go to the GP, the GP can read the mood, or somebody else can find out something will happen. And then the family will be exposed to the social services, the local authorities. Now, I'm going to allow us one by one if you don't know, or if you don't want to say, please don't say anything. But if you want to, just what are the signs you can look out for, or some cues you can see in your children, you know that there is a mental health problem they are going through. Please feel free to mention as many as you can.
Hello.
Yes, please. Yeah.
My name is Margaret.
Margaret, okay, welcome.
Good afternoon. Yeah, I think one of the signs is if the child may be feeling depressed, feeling down, sad, isolation. They may want to isolate themselves. Sometimes they may lose appetite.
Yes.
Might not want to eat or talk to anyone. I think sometimes they can be self-harm or even suicidal.
Okay.
Sometimes,
That's fine. You have mentioned very important some of the important ones. Yeah. Anyone else? And did you want to say something?
I was saying that Saeed and Faith got their hands up.
Oh, okay. Let me see. Oh my God, what am I doing? Saeed. Saeed. Yeah, Saeed, I think you are unmuted. You can go ahead.
Go ahead, Saeed.
Hello, Saeed. Okay. Okay. Does any other person have something to say?
Yeah, I have something.
Okay, please, Sister. Yes.
Yeah, I'll say the change in the attitude as well. They may become like aggressive. You find like they become like rude, angry, and the attitude like rebellious. And the big change in their attitude can show also that can be the cues to see, notice that there is an issue in their mental health.
Yes.
Or also they could be becoming like eating a lot, like just not eating at all. So it's
yeah, it varies, isn't it? Yeah, those are very, very important. There are some other ones I have here. Sudden silence. A child that used to be open, used to chat, and suddenly they want to hide away in their rooms, want to cover themselves, they don't want to talk to anybody, they're isolating themselves. That could be a signal that there is something going on. It's not. It doesn't mean that every time that happens, it is mental health issues, but at times that can be one of the signs. Some of them become indifferent. They become very indifferent. Before they were involved. When there is a game in the house, they're involved. When there's a discussion, they're involved. Then there is maybe there's something family do together, they're involved. But suddenly they become very indifferent. So it's one of the signs. Some of them become very teary. They become very teary. A strong child can become teary. Every little thing they start crying, they start weeping. That's a sign that something underground, something is going on inside that you can't see. There's something emotionally wrong or mentally, which they can't cope with. And such a child, it's possible they feel they have they feel victimized. They feel that they are picked on at. Maybe the parents are always blaming them. So that they can present as every time they are teary, they are defensive. So it could be they have had that long-term feeling of like a victim that nobody believes in me. Nobody believes what I say. So that could be one of it. So another one is competitiveness. Competitiveness may arise when a child feels well, I'm not appreciated. My sister, my brother is always appreciated. Or in school, the child is never appreciated by a teacher, no matter the answer they give. So they lose their confidence. And if that is not addressed, they will now, maybe they'll just summon up courage and say, you know what, I need to really stand up for myself. And suddenly they become so competitive. They want to get attention of everybody. They become loud. Some of it is loud, being too loud than who they were originally. Some become disruptive, as we said. Some become overly active. Overly active. You notice your child becomes overly active before you say, who is going to bring the water for me? They have already gone there already. They become very, something is going on. There is something that is going on underneath that have made them to do that. They want to prove a point. So it's a mental health issue that needs to be addressed, which has been there. And also, some of them become mischievous. Some become mischievous. A child that is going through mental health issue can become mischievous to attract your attention. Like if a child is neglected, let me give you an example. At times you see when there is remarriage, and maybe things were not explained to a child, that there will be remarriage. A new person is coming to be their father or their new mother. And then they are not, when it happens, they are not happy, they have not accepted it. What will happen is that they become mischievous. Some of them may be hiding things to upset somebody, to push away the new parent. So that is because there is something that has gone wrong emotionally or mentally that has not been addressed. Some of them may be blaming other people always because they feel neglected. They want to get attention. Some become secretive, especially when they become teenagers. They become very, very secretive. They don't want you to know anything. And the others can become easily enraged. If you notice your child easily irritated, easily enraged at every little thing, I assure you there is something emotionally and mentally that is troubling them that needs to be addressed. So, what are the triggers? We looked at the cues, the signs of a child going through mental health issues. Now we are looking at what are the triggers. I'm talking about risk factors. What are the risk factors? What is it that push children into developing mental health issues? And I know it's an area you will do very well. Can you just come in briefly in that?
Okay. Yeah, in my experience, there's a variety of reasons, and there is no one size fits all either. Because if we're going to view children as individuals, then we need to actually respect them as individuals. Their lived experience will play a very key role in their emotional well-being. And so there can be a variety of triggers. But if we kind of look at perhaps some of the common triggers, so their experience maybe in school, experience of being treated unfairly, discrimination, experience of not being loved and not having any emotional warmth, experience of loss of self-confidence, self-esteem, just confusion. One thing comes to mind is going through the adolescence process.
Yeah.
That's a very difficult time.
Yeah.
Pressure from different areas can push a child to where they start to have emotional imbalance. So whether it be doing exams, whether it be pressure to compete and to achieve, whether it be pressure to actually achieve things that are well outside of your capabilities. Again, it all hinges on parents' ability to actually understand and connect with their children. So I don't think we could ever pin it down to one thing. Relationships.
No.
Or relationships could be the reason.
Yeah.
You could have a child that gets into trouble as part of the natural course of child development, but that takes it to heart. So they've got a low disposition. They have limited coping strategies. So a young person getting in trouble with the police as a one-off could push that child over the edge through the fear of what's going on there. Stereotypes that are levied onto children, living up to high standards that don't make sense, and just being in an environment where you're confused and you don't understand what is expected of you can push you through.
Yes.
Financial hardships, if you're living in poverty, that may impact on you.
Yeah.
If you start in a relationship with a young person in adolescence, you may not have much skills around relationships. That in itself can put pressure on.
Yeah.
Taking on too much, more than you can cope with, again.
Yeah.
So there's so many triggers
Yeah.
that can start emotional unbalance and poor emotional well-being. I wouldn't want to put it down to one. I wouldn't want to categorize it all. I think I'll just remain open-minded, and that any situation can cause a child distress and to plummet into low mood and low self-esteem.
Yeah, that's thank you so much, Anne. You summarized it very well. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, the parents, as we are saying, okay, defense, I don't know how to say, yeah, please come on. Defense, are you unmuted now? Unmute yourself, please.
Okay. How are you doing? Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, we're good.
Lovely lady, Anna. She really summed it up properly. That's why I was eager to get in. One thing that we didn't touch on in terms of mental health, specifically in an African child, whether they're born in Africa, or came to the UK or Europe or whatever, or born in Europe, is racism.
Yeah.
The fundamental disease that is white supremacy, and the environment that people are put into, and the fact of the different situations that people encounter in relation to don't like their color, they don't like their feature, they don't like their hair. Many of these factors play a significant role, as well equally as what Anna was talking about and everybody else spoke about. You know, and that's something that oftentimes professionals don't really want to talk about, the racist situation that happens in terms of education, in terms of the environment, in terms of conditions, in terms of socialization, in terms of, you know, what they see on TV, etc., etc., etc. These are factors as well, as you quietly mentioned, in terms of low self-esteem and stuff like that. You know, so these are the factors. And in terms of the ability to cope, is dissipated because you know, people saying, "Oh, get on with it." You know, why are you behaving that kind of way? You know what I mean? When the situation is critical, and the person not necessarily encountered that. I'll give you a good example. Quickly, there was a very important, significant, a great musician from the Caribbean, elder now, big man. But his father came from a sort of a middle class background, a typical African. Sent him to America to study medicine. He did it for about 2 years and dropped out. And when he dropped out, he went and studied music at the New York College of Music. And he became, in fact, coming from the Caribbean region, he even got knighted by the Queen. He became a knight of the Queen because of his music. His father, from the day that he dropped out of university, never spoke to him till he died. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So these are factors that are so profound. It's amazing what happens to people and in terms of mental health. So I agree with Anna, fundamentally, in terms of the different dimensions and the different variants of what creates mental health and the byproducts from it. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Please, can you help me pronounce your name? Kafens?
You're on the right path. It's Kafense.
Oh, thank you, Kafense. Thank you for that contribution. Yeah, very valid, very valid. Yes, you've all said everything I have here, and I want to just put it this way, that there are so many things. Some of them are environmental, as you said. Like we can talk about the environment where the child is always where the child stays or spends his or her time more. The environment there matters a lot. It could be in class. If other children are always teasing them, like you said, rightly said, you know, racism is very subtle. It could be in a school setting. Some children can tease other children from different backgrounds, and it can trigger something negative in the emotional and mental well-being of a child. It could be the way teachers treat a child in school. So global events. At times we look at coronavirus going on now, most parents have not even had time to speak to their children to understand how they feel, how it has impacted them. Some of them have fear inside of them, and it is not dealt with. Coronavirus started officially since March, and children have been part of it. Now, the government is debating, parents are debating, should we go to school, should we not go to school? How many times have children been asked? And so at times we don't even understand what they're going through. So it is the responsibility of parents. Because if we don't do that and they're carrying that heavy load, they're carrying that pressure in their mind, it can impact in their well-being and in their performance in school. And the teachers will pick it up. And one thing I noticed is that recently, every school in the UK has a resident social worker. It's not like before where something happens, the teachers will phone a social worker, come. Now, some of them have offices there. So every little statement a child makes, their mates may pick it up, teachers may pick it up, social worker may, the way they are playing, they are being watched. So at times it could be that even these events are affecting them. Some of them are watching news. You see all the negative news is affecting adults, how much more children. So there are so many things that come together. We see, at times we see protest, violence going on. I remember I was speaking to some young people, and their parents are from, especially Nigeria. The parents are saying, we want to visit Nigeria. And they don't know how to tell the parents that they were so scared. And I had to ask them, why are you scared? They said, oh, the story about Nigeria, I don't want to go there. They will kidnap me. They will kill me. I have to explain to them things, the way things happen, because at times parents have not taken time. So there is fear embedded in them. And when there is fear, a long-term fear that is not dealt with, that distorts their mental well-being and their emotional well-being. So we're looking at that. We're looking at, as we said, the environmental, peer pressure. I think Anne mentioned, covered that. Some of them are biological. There are some mental health issues that are biological. Children are just born to be very anxious. They are just naturally anxious, and you don't understand how to deal with it. And so you discover, I don't know if you have seen children when they are born, you see some of them are always crying. Once the mother puts them down to just go to the kitchen, they start screaming. And no matter what you give them, they won't keep quiet. Maybe there was something that happened, fear or something from the beginning that they're going to lose their mom. They may be young, but they grow up like that. So, and that has been there. And so at times when they manifest it, parents don't pick it up. We don't understand it. Family circumstances, family factors can be a trigger. It could be bereavement. When I was growing up in Africa as a child, nobody talks to you about bereavement. That uncle that used to come to your family house every evening suddenly goes into hospital. Nobody explains to the child what has happened, whether the uncle will come back or he's not going to come back. The uncle or the auntie dies. Nobody really takes time to explain what happened to the uncle, why he died, and whether he's coming back again. So children just assume, have their own assumption, and also have their own fear. So these things can impact on the mental health of a child. Somebody going into a hospital, like let's say mother goes into a hospital, has a baby, comes back home with a baby. That brings excitement. Now somebody else they know goes into hospital, doesn't return back home. And they're waiting until when this uncle returns back home. So these are areas that can affect children. Domestic violence, that one is a big one. Shouting and fighting where the children are. These things can trigger mental health challenge in children. Yes, families, husbands and wives, couples, partners can have problems. But I want to encourage us here, as we are doing very well, please always think about the children, the impact when you are going to argue. Do it nicely, maybe when they're in school. But for their sake, let the atmosphere be peaceful when they are there. Yeah. At times, another thing that triggers mental health, emotional health problem is when they see a parent distressed, a parent upset. Maybe so it's about money. A parent is upset because of rent. A parent is upset because of what somebody says somewhere. A parent is always arguing, and maybe you argue with somebody and you are crying on the phone, and that child notices it regularly. At times, you notice that that child will start protecting you because something has gone wrong. So they are worried whenever you're on the phone. Something in them kicks off that, oh my God, my mom is going to cry again, my dad is going to cry again. So these things, when they're happening, there's nothing wrong in calling a child if you can understand it and let the child know that this is nothing, it's just me and my friends, we are just talking, it's a banter, this is what happened. Or you have financial pressure, explain to them that yes, this is my issue, I need to pay my rent, but the money is being delayed, but don't worry, it's going to be sorted out. But at times nobody explains these things to the children. And so you see them going to school, they are worried, who knows how my mom is going to cope, who knows how my dad is going to cope. You don't know these things, you don't know that it worries them because we think they are children. And so when they go to school, at times they are moody in class. They do not participate in class. They do not want to play. And teachers will begin to watch them. They will be on the watch list. And some of us, the parents will even call you for a meeting that we notice a change in this child. So, whatever we are doing as parents to keep local authorities away from our back, please connect emotionally and mentally, psychologically with your children. It's not easy, but we must start from somewhere so that we don't blame them, we don't smack them. Just when you see their actions, you think that they are deliberate, they want to upset you, they are seeking for attention. So it's always screaming and shouting at them. No. So we want to encourage us for a change of style, a change of strategy in bringing up our children. If we notice that our strategy is always screaming and shouting at them, okay, go to your naughty corner. That's the only solution we have. Something is wrong somewhere. So we need to change our strategy. I don't know if somebody has something to say there.
Yeah, it's Margaret again. Well, I've just put in the chat that sometimes bullying,
Yes.
being bullied at school,
Mm-hmm.
or you can be bullied at home,
Mm-hmm.
can also cause trigger a mental health issue.
Yeah.
And also, maybe if the child has some kind of a disability,
Yeah.
that is impairing them from maybe developing friendships at school.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes lack of friendships can cause a child to have mental health issues or develop mental health issues.
Yes, so that's very true. That's so it comes under that environmental, where other children pick on them, some laugh at them. Maybe I gave an example of a child who, whenever he was in a school, whenever they wanted to prepare, when they were dressing or whenever they were dressing up to go for their PE or what do you call PE, then he has this boxer. And one other boy would just say, oh, this your boxer, it seems you are, I don't want to use that word, I don't know how many of us like it. That means he is, okay, let me use the word. He said, oh, it seems you are gay. And this young boy didn't like it. And he reported it to the teachers did nothing. Reported it to head teacher did nothing. And this child became very, very enraged. So every time you say something, the child will jump up and get so angry. Have you noticed our black teenagers, our even Asian children from, according to them, ethnic minority, how angry they are? They get so enraged, they get so angry. And at times you ask yourself, why do they get angry? It could be that you just stepped on their feet, they won't forget. 2 years down the line, you see stabbing happens, you see shooting happens. There is something, little thing that happened. Most of them are like that. It starts like that. So this child became like that, and the mother, thank God for the mother. The mother really started saying, "This is not my child. Why are you so angry?" In fact, the more you ask the child, he will start crying. He will start throwing tantrum. He became a different child. And the mother did something which I will recommend. When you notice it, there's a place where you refer, but what do you do yourself? The first thing we do is we have to intervene, we have to support, we have to intervene, at least in our own way, in our house. If it doesn't improve, that's when we now refer. So how do we intervene? Intervene by listening to them, make out time. So when what the parent did was very simple. Took the child out by himself, not in the company of the siblings, and assured the child that, look, I'm not going to judge you. I understand you may be going through. Just tell me, did something happen in your life recently? Open up to me. I'm not going to be angry. Don't be ashamed. Went to like a restaurant, ask the child, where do you want us to go? The child say, well, I want to go to so place. So they went to an eatery. They went to a restaurant, a fast food place. And while they were eating, the child opened up and said, this is what has been going on. Every time I wear that boxer, this person talks to me like that. And the school has not done something. And I don't like that word because I'm a child of God. And the mother had to assure the child. In fact, the mother had to pull the child out of that school. And the child just changed again. When he was in a new environment, he became himself. He became quiet. He became normal. So it's very important that we look out for signs. We look out for cues that are abnormal, that goes beyond the normal of your child, and take out time to address it. How to address it is you have to listen to them. Let them tell you. Don't be the one to say you are like that. I think this is because we have seen some parents, so children start presenting a different personality. Some parents say it's witchcraft. And they say, okay, let's go and take him to remove witchcraft from the child. Some begin to give label. Oh, that child is like that. That child is that person like that. And it exacerbates because it is not addressed. I don't know if you have had a lot of teenagers, young people say, nobody listens to me. Because these signs are visible, but nobody ever asks them, how can I help you solve this problem? I can see one of the problems we have as Black parents, ethnic minority parents, we feel we are superior. We can't sit down with our children to chat. Yeah, once in a while we can play games, we can play football, we can take them to games, but we don't have one-to-one talk because we think they don't have anything in their brain to contribute. I want to let you know that the children you are bringing in this country are very smart. If you, at times when you have an issue, you have tried to process it, you can. Ask that your child at 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, 10 years, 11 years. You'll be amazed with the idea they will bring to the table. But because we grew up like that, and our parents never consulted us for anything, even for anything that pertains to us, they never asked us. If we want to buy shoes, we just go out there, buy shoe and bring it and say, I bought shoe for you. And meanwhile, that's not the type of shoe they want. So we need to look at all that and see how we can help to listen to them, get their own opinion, respect their feelings. Some of us parents, we don't respect the feelings of our children. I'm sorry to say this. We can embarrass them anywhere. At times I did it in the past. One uncle comes to the house, come here, have you greeted your uncle? Openly. Or you begin, when somebody comes, you begin to say the negative things about them, and they just pull away. And they're losing that. So when we have visitors next time, they are worried. They don't even want to show their face. These are minor things, but it happens in so many families. So these things are not healthy for the children. So intervention and support, if you discover a trigger, if you discover a cue, you need to address it. The first thing as a parent is you to take out time. Brother Ola, is it break time? Hello? Hello, Brother Ola. Okay.
It's got 10 minutes. It's got 10 minutes for that.
Okay.
10 minutes.
Is it now or later?
10 minutes. The next 10 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Yes. So you are the first person to help your child. So listen to the child, ask the necessary questions, and give them back confidence. Assure them what you are going to do, practical step you are going to do to help them. So if it means changing the environment, if it means change, if it is from their friends, if you can change the friendship, change. If it is from you, what you are doing that is affecting them, that is pushing them for their mental health to go down, you change whatever you are doing. But the main secret is to listen to them, so their own side of the issue, without judging them, without painting a picture, without blaming them. It will help them. The second intervention and support is when the behavior, the challenging behavior persists. In almost all the schools in the UK, they have mental health officers who deal with that. So it may be something you need to speak to the teacher to say, this is what you are noticing. How can this be helped? And they will refer you to their own school professionals. Then if that if the child continues to underperform or continue to be disruptive, or that the mental health is becoming more visible, they may refer them to external professionals where they will be looked after. So we must do something about it, because if you don't do something, questions may be asked, and if you don't have the right answers, the social local authority can come in. Yes, Anne.
I would just like to exercise a little bit of caution there, just because I fully agree. If you notice something's wrong with your child, you need to make somebody know. But depending upon the experience that you've had, you may not have the confidence to deal with an establishment like a school, because the negative stereotypes will kick in. And if you don't have the confidence that the person that you shared this information with is going to actually do the right thing by your child, then you may not express that. So I wouldn't necessarily subscribe to, let's say, a school, for instance, not because it's not right, but supposing your child's behaviour has manifested itself in school, and school have already started to label him. It's more complicated than that. And I think as Black people and as parents of Black children, we need to recognise that one of the negative stereotypes are that we have mental health problems, are that we can't regulate ourselves, and that we're aggressive, and all some of the triggers that we do see. And so I actually think that you probably should access more than one professional support body.